I'm Gabrielle Ruth Little, your host of Girl Talk Pod. Join me on my many adventures as I navigate through all the shit life has to offer. The rule here is no expectations. Not low expectations, but no expectations. You never know what you're going to hear from this 20-something-year-old who believes in being a student for life, whether it's through a solo episode just hanging out or with a badass guest. Welcome to Girl Talk Pod. Let's talk. Hey guys, welcome to episode 12 of Girl Talk Pod. I don't know if you notice anything different if you're watching. I chopped off 8 inches of my hair yesterday. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but there were just a few things that I had planned that I wasn't going to cut my hair yet for, like my friend's wedding, and I wanted it to be long for that. And so I decided to cut it off. And Picasso's joining us. Say hi, Picasso. Say hi. And so this is something that I wanted to do for a while, and I was attached to my hair. Absolutely attached to my hair. So I decided to cut it off and try something new, and I absolutely love it. I have gotten great feedback, and I just feel like it's a style that fits my face well, and I love it. And it's summer in Texas. It's about to be so hot, so I'm excited to try different styles with the new hair, and it's just new hair, new me. So that is a new thing. I just got back from Miami a few days ago, and it was such a fun trip. I told y'all about my kind of stomach issues I've been dealing with, so it kind of sucked because I couldn't drink or eat in Miami, and the restaurants in Miami are so good. So having to sit there and watch my friends eat and drink and celebrate was really hard, but it was fun. I went out and I had a good time, and I have always played with the idea of going sober or not drinking, and I've done it at times, but this weekend really showed me that I can go out until 4 a.m. sober and drink water and have a great time. So, and I felt great, besides my stomach hurting, but I felt great in the fact that I didn't have a hangover or anything like that. So that was really fun. Picasso is all over me right now. So if you hear little noises, it's him moving around. Hopefully he's going to get comfortable soon. So if you're watching, you'll see him just kind of all over my lap. But Miami was so fun. We stayed in the condo, and then we ended up getting a hotel room one night at the One Hotel, which is a beautiful hotel in Miami. Took advantage of the pool. We met some cool people. We went to a lot of the Groot hospitality restaurants. Casadona just opened up in the fall last year, and that was beautiful. It's across the street from my condo, so we just walked over to dinner, and then we went to Gecko, which is a place I go to literally every time I'm in Miami. But again, I wasn't able to eat, and I just felt really bad, and I actually ended up getting sick at Gecko and having to throw up in the bathroom. And I was like, these people in the bathroom probably think that I'm just some stupid drunk idiot. And the bathroom attendant, who didn't even speak that much English, asked me and was like, is this your first time here? And I was just like, no, it's not. I'm just not feeling well. Gosh, it was not good. So I apologize to the bathroom attendant at Gecko, and but overall it was a great trip, and we had so much fun. So that's the newest, latest, and greatest. I'm headed to Houston this weekend for Father's Day. After I go to the Mavs game, I'm going to the game 4 of the NBA Finals, which is going to be really exciting and cool to be in the atmosphere during this time. I just hope the Mavs get it together, because I guess at this point next week, when you're listening to this on Tuesday, we'll have more, we'll know what's going on with the NBA Finals. We might be out of it, or we may be winning it. So we'll see. But last week I talked about how I quit my job. I quit my corporate job. So this episode I wanted to just talk about my just journey in career paths and where I'm at now and what my plan is and what that's looked like. I've been in corporate for the last 4 years. So I want to talk about like education and how I chose the industry that I have worked in for the last 4 years, and then again just tie it up to where I am now and what my game plan is, which spoiler alert, I don't really have a game plan. So it's funny, all my coworkers are like, so what are you doing next? And I'm like, I have no idea. So it's a fun time. It's a scary time, kind of, but I always figure it out. So we'll just take it back to, how I am. We're just going to take it back to the beginning, school. So, just a little background knowledge. I started school at Ole Miss, and I was actually on pre-med track whenever I started school, which is crazy. I was like obsessed with Grey's Anatomy, and I wanted to be like a general surgeon. So I went pre-med to college. I was in the pre-med program for about 6 weeks, and I was like, no, this is not for me. Science is just something that I've never really just picked up on naturally. I was always really good at math, though. So then I changed my major to business, undecided. And then I struggled. My mental health episode, we talked about how I moved back from Ole Miss to Dallas, and I really struggled while I was there. So I transferred to Dallas Baptist, and that's where I finished school. And then I did an MBA program there as well. And so I started working in 2020. I actually met my boss out at a bar lounge in Dallas, and he was we were just talking, and I was looking for an internship. I was looking for a job, and he was like, well, I'll hire you as an intern at his company. So I worked in oil and gas. I worked for an oil and gas venture capital firm, and that was my first like big girl corporate job. To actually wind it back a little bit before then, so I talked about this last episode, how my parents own doctor's offices and med spas. So while I was in college, I worked for them, just doing different things. Kind of did some like insurance management. I would go in and actually work like front desk, and I would do just kind of a bunch of random stuff, some billing and things like that. So I worked with them while I was in college, and then my mom and I actually got into a huge fight and argument and falling out about working, and just bumped heads there. So I decided that I'm going to go figure out something else. So started working in corporate accounting. But also at that time, I was very entitled. I felt like I just deserved to get paid and not work very hard. And so it was good that I went out and like worked on my own and worked for other people. And so then I started working at my internship, which turned into a full-time job, and I was in school while I was working, doing the MBA program, and that was really hard to juggle school. So when my mom, which we haven't dived into this, but my mom was incarcerated in 2018, and so I kind of co-parented with my stepdad for a year, and I took off a year of school, and after that, it was really hard for me to get back on track, but I tried to make it work the best that I could. So I was working full time in school, taking night classes, and during COVID, we didn't have to go in, so that was nice. So I would do night classes, and then online, virtual, and then I quit my first job, that was my first full time at that venture capital firm, worked in oil and gas. And then randomly, I worked at 7-Eleven corporate in oil and gas, like in gas accounting, fuel accounting. And that was awful. That was literally the worst experience ever. I'm traumatized. I like am traumatized from that experience because the management was just awful. I was treated so poorly and I just hated that job, but I just thought like, oh, 7-Eleven corporate's going to look so good on my resume and everything, and I decided to do it, and it was the worst decision ever. But we all live and we all learn. So I decided to be an accountant because of job security. While I was in school, my sophomore year, that's when I just like took my first accounting classes, and I was just really naturally, it just naturally made sense to me. So I did that, and I just decided, I was like, it's job security. The unemployment rate in Dallas for accountants was 0, and then nationally it was like 0.2%. So I was like, I'm gonna get a job that's like has good job security, and it paid pretty well. So that's when I decided to change my major to accounting, and then I just got it. I loved my accounting classes, I loved my accounting professors, and my original plan was to take the CPA. That's why I did it, like went into the MBA program. But then once I started working in accounting, I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna be a CPA. It's just more test taking and just hearing people's stories about it. Decided that wasn't for me. So I was like, job security, job security, job security. And it's so hard being in college and trying to figure out what you're trying to do with your life. Like going out of high school where you're like in algebra, and then you're in college, and then in 4 years you're supposed to try to figure out like what your career path is. And I have my degree in accounting. Like I can't go, I could always go back to school, but there's just, I just wish there was like some type of like test that you take and that recommends like what job, would be good for you based on your, I don't know, just some type of like aptitude. I think that's aptitude test. So it was just, that's just what made sense at the time. And then college accounting is not the same as real life corporate accounting because you're not doing things by hand. You're doing everything in Excel, and every company I worked for a private company, and then I worked for a public company. So reporting is just different, and practices are just different across all companies. So it's just kind of like college is just, it's crazy to me. And I'm working with people who never even finished college, and everything can just be taught. So college is just a little, I feel like it's a scam, but that's why I decided to do accounting. It was just like came naturally to me, and I thought I was good at it, and just, job security and financial security. So did that, and then after 7-Eleven, I started my job that I still have now, just resigned from, and I'm going to be there for the next couple weeks, and then I'm done. In July. So I love my company so much that I work at now. My team is absolutely amazing, and going from like the toxic 7-Eleven environment to this was like, I felt so, I was just like on edge constantly, and my management team had to remind me like, no one died, like it's okay, it's not that big of a deal, like ask questions. Where my previous experience at 7-Eleven was like, you need to get this once, like I'm going to teach it to you once, take notes, and then I don't want you to ask me ever again, which is crazy now that I think about it and say it out loud. But my team now was just so like nurturing and welcoming, and I just honestly, like, they are the reason why I stayed as long as I did. And I was not like never fulfilled at my job, but like going and like having my coworkers and like the company culture, I was like, I want to stay here. And so it's a great company, and like other people that I know that work there absolutely love it, and like people that work in different departments love it so much. And I contemplated, making a transition across departments and maybe trying something different, like like a finance position or a recruiting and HR position. But I made the decision just to completely get out of corporate and just take some time to kind of explore what exactly it is that I want to do. And I alongside of like working corporate, I've never just had one job. When I was 19, I was working for my family. When I was 19, I started doing like promo modeling is the best way to describe it. And there's just so many different things that I've done with this agency, from cocktail waitressing events to bartending to selling raffle tickets to modeling print shoots to doing commercial stuff. And it's kind of like a full desk agency, which you're doing, a ton of different things. I've done like liquor sales and liquor promos or beer promos at bars. I've done so many different things with this company. And I've done that since I was 19. And then once I like really was working, I stopped doing that until recently I started doing it again. And it's just it's super consistent, not really in the summer, but in like spring and fall. Super consistent. You can make great money. Like I know girls that just do stuff for this agency and they make great money and that's all that they do. And so I'm doing that currently still, but been doing that since I was 19. And then I started my own business in last year. Yeah, last year I started my own business called Peach Factory, which is a workout business. We actually dissolved it this year just because I was working full time and I just couldn't commit my time. And working with somebody is really hard for me. I'm either like all in and I want to do everything myself, like a little bit of a control issue, or I am lazy and like letting someone else like take the reins and take control of it. So it was definitely hard, and it gave me a ton of experience when starting your own business. So I know that's down the line I will be starting multiple businesses, but I will be starting something again, hopefully soon. I don't know what space, but I know that I do genuinely love doing that and seeing a business like come to life. So I will be doing that again at some point. And then in 20 so prior to that, in 2022, I got licensed to be a personal trainer. My friend Courtney's a personal trainer. She's been a personal trainer for 6 years, and she kind of influenced me to take that leap and just try it. And so January of last year is when I started, or no, December, I guess just whatever, month apart. December of 2022, I started personal training, and that's when I started having my first clients. So I was working a lot. I was training clients prior to work, and then I would go to work, and then I would train clients after work. And I was just so busy. And it was great money. It just was really hard to really grow because I had my full-time job and I couldn't dedicate all my time to it. So I'm also contemplating that in this time of, just trying to figure it out and maybe start training some more. I still have some travel clients that I see that I have seen since I started training, that they come in town for a few weeks and then they go back home, and they kind of split time between here and there. So I still train, so we'll see. I might pick up some more clients again. I don't know. I'm just in a place of I'm going to just take some time and just try to figure it out, which sounds kind of crazy and irresponsible, but I've been able to like save, and I still am doing things like here and there. I'm still working for my parents. I've kind of taken over the marketing for the med spa and just kind of done some other things. I'm working mostly with the med spa right now. So I've had conversations with my parents about quitting my job and going on full time for them, but I just want to make sure that I'm still doing something that I really want to do. And I'm 25 years old, and I just felt as if I'm going to fall on my face and take a risk, like I'm going to do it now because I don't have kids, I don't have a husband, I don't have a mortgage, and my responsibilities are small enough to where I can take that risk and just kind of, prepare for what could go wrong. And I don't have any mouths to feed besides my own. And I'm not eating that much right now because of my stomach issues. But that's kind of why I just decided to take the leap. I was like, everything in my life right now is going at such an upward trajectory. I don't want to keep things in my life that are holding me back. And I really felt like my job was holding me back. And that's why I stayed working and still doing my side hustles, because I think if you have a job that is secure and consistent, and you can still do the things like some extracurriculars on the side, keep it, do it. It just got to the point for me that like I could be doing so much more and growing so much without the job. And that wasn't the case. And that wasn't the case until now. So that's why I stayed working there, stayed with my company while I was still doing things on the side. So I just think that if you have that opportunity, especially nowadays with remote work and just being able to kind of get on top of your task. My company and my workload was very project based. So I could work really hard for 2 weeks of the month, and then the next 2 weeks were just like coasting. And that was really nice, especially with everything else that I have going on, and like travel. I could travel and work and everything. So I definitely suggest, if you have that opportunity, milk it for as long as you can. I just, at this point, it was getting in the way of like the things that I really wanted to do. And I also really want to put a lot of effort into this podcast. Is like this, my dream would just be to be able to come on, grow the podcast, interview great guests, and just monetize this in a way that my passion is also my career and income. And I think that's so important. You hear stories all the time, and I feel like my story is like the cliche of, you work in corporate, it's unfulfilling, and then you go find out what you really want to do, and then you thrive. And that's exactly where I'm in my life. Is I don't know what that looks like, what exactly the end goal looks like for me, but I know I'm on that journey right now. So I know that in this time of just self-discovery when it comes to my career, I'm going to unfold all these opportunities and really find what I love. So you hear that cliche, you hear that story all the time. And I just think it's so important to realize that life is short. So especially with work, and you're working more than you're doing anything when you're an adult. You're with your coworkers sometimes more than you are with your partner, and you definitely are with them more than your friends and things like that. So I just challenge you to make sure that what you're doing every single day is fulfilling you, because you're going to look back on life when you're older and look at all these hours that you worked for what. And I want you to be able to answer that for what question. It was something that fulfilled my soul. It's something that I felt like I was making an impact on people's lives. It's something that I could, wake up every day and I was excited to go do. And I don't know if not everyone has that mindset, but I just think it's so important, because people get caught in the rat race of just constantly trying to save their money or save up for these things or do this, and they're just stuck, and then they're miserable, and at the end of their life they are just looking back on memories of just kind of chasing money and never actually like living and like being fulfilled. And I don't have any I don't have a trust fund. I don't have anyone supporting me. I'm willing to budget and like be frugal for a little bit if it means that it's getting me closer to finding what it is that really drives me. And I believe that once you find something that you're passionate about, money is going to come. And I think that more money is going to come whenever you're more passionate about it, because you're going to work hard and you're going to make it work. And just think about it, if it's something that you're really passionate about, you're going to work harder. And working harder is only going to bring you in more revenue, bring you in more income if that's you starting a business or growing and climbing the ladder in a company that you work for. Because that's where I was, is in my companies, like you climb the ladder as you prove yourself and as you spend more time at the company. And I'm like, I don't want to spend more time. I don't want to try harder. I don't want to put in more effort. So to me, I was like, you're at a plateau here. And we're not going to waste any more time at this plateau of we have nowhere else to go from here. It's just flatlining. You might get a promotion to one more role above you, and then what? There's nothing that's all that's left for you. And I've just seen people in my company that have been there for 30 years, and they're just they're miserable. And I just couldn't do that for myself. So that's where I'm at right now, is just trying to figure it out. And I don't know if y'all are, whoever's listening, if you're listening and you're resonating with this. I just, like, life, if I could tell you one thing, it's just life is too short to, waste it on things that don't make you happy. And that's applicable in all things, not just your career. I want to talk about, I guess, kind of like on being an entrepreneur and some of the struggles that I've found, like starting a business, because I've started 2 businesses before the age of 25. I started 2 businesses. And so during COVID, my friend from LA and I, it's actually funny because my 2 business partners, they both have the same name and they're guys. That's funny, weird. So the first business was during COVID, and we wanted to start like a concierge business like in Dallas, because Dallas was popping during COVID and everyone was traveling to Dallas because everything else was closed. And so I wanted to start a concierge business, but my business partner and I just bumped heads so much. And I highly recommend not going into business with your friends, because I guess I don't want to say I highly recommend not doing that. I just think there needs to be a lot of communication, and you just have to be careful, because I know that there are businesses out there where you've got friends and it turns out and it's great and it's thriving. So I don't want to say don't do it, but just be very careful and just make sure that things are clearly communicated and roles are distinguished and established, so there's just not any confusion and you can avoid a lot of arguments that way. So that was just kind of where we were, is we just couldn't figure out like delegation of task and who was in charge of what, and just like being 2 friends that are kind of stubborn and hard-headed, starting a business was very hard. So we didn't get very far in that business, but I got the tools and experience of, filing an LLC and working with, graphic designers to do our logo and everything. So we got the experience, but it didn't go far. And then starting Peach Factory was awesome. We, played with so many different ideas in the fitness space. Our long-term goal was to do some on-demand fitness and kind of develop an app, which, who knows, we might still do it. But now, especially that I don't have my full-time job, who knows? The opportunities are infinite. So that was kind of the original goal. And then we were like, okay, we're going to do pop-ups too. So we did pop-ups in Dallas, which were so fun. Like, we had our first pop-up was sold out, like over sold out. And we did a rooftop in Dallas, and it was glute focused band workouts. We got custom bands for all of our participants. We had vendors, and that's something that I genuinely love doing, is I love bringing people together and throwing events and just seeing ideas come to life, because we had a 70-person sellout of our first ever pop-up when no one really knew what the fuck we were, who the fuck we were. So that shit was awesome. I would love to relive that day, and we might, you never know. It was so fun. And so we did that. It was great. And it just, again, I just had my full-time job that was kind of holding me back in that space. And also my business partner had other things going on as well. So it's just, those are some of the challenges from starting a business and seeing it come to an end, but all great experiences, just working with venues and working with vendors and dealing with liquor rules because we wanted to have alcohol on the premises and just stuff like that. Like, all of it was just great experience. And you don't, like, people think like, oh, to start a business you have to have all this experience and all this money and all this. No, you don't. You really don't. I mean, yeah, it could excel you a lot faster in business, so like more power to you. But like, no, if you have an idea that's a good idea and you can get people to listen to you and you can convince people to come, then go on with yourself. Because I can tell you, I thought that it was going to be a lot more intimidating than it was. And then now, like, I can go start a business tomorrow. Is it going to be thriving and flourishing? I don't know. But it's not as hard as you think. Or not hard, because there are challenges, but it's just not impossible. And I just feel like that's kind of the mindset of some people, is it just sounds like super overwhelming. And I promise you that it's not. You just have to learn to be adaptable and pivot when things aren't working. And I just think that some of the greatest life experiences can come from just like throwing yourself out there with, no life raft or whatever it's called. Life ring, floaty, buoy, dinghy, whatever. So those are my kind of like starting business ideas. And I still have a ton of ideas. And I have so many ideas for Girl Talk just as a brand and growth there. So I'm really excited about that. We've got some good things going on. I say we, like I have a team. Like, it's literally me, and me. I'm the accountant. I'm the director, I'm the audio engineer, I'm the content creator, I'm the brand, like everything I've done all by myself. The branding, the logos, everything. So I am out here like it's me and Picasso and Leo sometimes for emotional support. But to sidebar, I also think that right now is just such a good time in like society to venture out and try new things. And you see these people overnight blow up, and all these ideas are so easily shared nowadays on different platforms and stuff. And I just think that no idea is a bad idea, and you can really make it work if you can find the market for it. There's a market for fucking everything out there, literally everything out there. And you just have to figure out what you like and just try to tap into markets that haven't really been tapped into. That's why I love living in Dallas. Is we're a big city, but not really. So there's a lot that New York, Miami, LA, Chicago has that Dallas hasn't even scraped the surface of yet. And that's why I love living in Dallas. And I know that Dallas is just on this huge trajectory for growth. And I'm really excited to see how the city changes over the years. And I just think that right now, being in Dallas, where I'm at, the connections that I have is only going to set me up for so much success as this city grows. So I can't wait to reflect on this podcast later down the road and just be in my like private jet flying around and being like, girl, you called it. You called it. In June of 2024, you called it. So that's really like all I have about just career and business and life. I don't have a big plan. I wish I did, but I'm just going to kind of explore. And, I still have my supplemental income coming in, and my bills are paid. My cats are fed. My dog is fed, and we're good over here. But I'm going to take some time. I'm going to travel. I've got a ton of travel coming up. A ton of travel. In the next 3 months, I am home for 2 or 3 weekends out of the next 3 months. It's crazy, but that's just how I want to live right now. I want to live fast and furious, and I want to be on the go, and I want to go meet people. I want to go experience different cultures. I want to go just figure out what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing with this life, this crazy, crazy life. And to kind of piggyback off of like last episode with being in a relationship and also like career, it's really hard when you're in a relationship, like, and trying to figure out like what your career path is going to be. And being single now, it's just like I have no one to worry about. I can move wherever I want. I can work in any industry. I can work 20 hours a day. I could work 3 hours a day, whatever it is. And I can travel all the time, not having to worry about a partner and like giving them time and attention. And I understand like when you grow in a business, you can do it alongside people. People do grow businesses all the time alongside their spouse. My partner could grow his business. I could never see him because I know he's, putting all of his effort into his craft and trying to get things done. But the quality of the relationship just isn't going to be great. I guess until they like really are reaping the benefits of their success. But it is possible, but I just challenge you, if you're single, like go and just experience and just try new things. I might go move to Chicago and be a bartender and just take up some piano lessons, and like, I don't know, like the opportunities are absolutely endless right now. So that is just really exciting to me, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. So I know that now that I've cut out this part of my life that I felt was holding me back in a sense, I can't wait to see how my life unfolds now. It's just going to be a really fun adventure, and I'm just going to try to stay sane through it. But that's really all I have about career and school and life and all of that. If you have any questions about like interviewing and, I worked with recruiters, the job search process, anything like that, I didn't really want to get into too much detail with that bullshit because like, I don't know. I just am so over corporate America right now. So if you all want to chat about any of that, just hit me up. We can talk about my experience in more detail and what I've loved or hated about working in corporate for the last 4.5 years and all that. And just kind of ways to create income for yourself. Let me know. Hit me up. I was, doing all the things. I like also forgot to mention this. When I was working full time, I was in school full time. I was bartending on the weekends, and I was also in school. So you can accomplish your shit. You just have to delegate, or not delegate. You just have to be super organized and plan your priorities and be, have your tasks, and your time management needs to be good. But like, there's money to be fucking made out there, and we're going to fucking make it. So that's all I have. Next week I'm pretty sure next week, I said this last episode, next week should be my first guest episode. I just want to make sure it's my first time doing a guest episode in a studio and having other people kind of give me the the footage and the sound and audio and all that. So that'll be the first time I do that. So I hope that next week you will have a guest episode, but if not, it'll just be a solo me pod, and we'll talk about who the fuck knows. Who knows is what's going to be on our plate next week. So look out for the guest episode, number 13, or you're just going to hang out with me again. I hope you are having a great Tuesday so far. And if you're not listening to this on a Tuesday, I hope you're having a great whatever day it is, whatever day you're listening to this. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.